Constantly shifting through the time-space continuum, Metron's three disciples observe the universe from the Mobius Couch.
Wake me up. Wake me up inside. I can't wake up. Wake me up inside. Save me. Call my name and save me from the Mobius Couch, a time-space interdimensional vehicle from which your three hosts track the budding romance between disgraced pop star Katy Perry and former Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau.
And I have so much to say about it tonight.
I know. I mean, boys, could you invent a more hateable couple? Let's spill some tea.
Oh, man. Let me tell you, wait a minute. That doesn't sound
Does
right.
it not sound right? Let me check the dials, because the Mobius Couch is an interdimensional
I don't
vehicle,
have it.
so
I actually, when I said I had a lot to say about that, I just realized I have nothing to say about that.
Let me check, because maybe we're in the wrong dimension. Beep boop. Beep boop boop. Boop 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 boop. Whoop. The Mobius Couch, where we talk about comic books. Comic books, comic books, comic books, comic books. Woo! Hey, everybody. Right, the Mobius Couch is an interdimensional vehicle, and now we're in the right dimension where we're chatting about comic books. Today's lyrical intro was, of course, Kid Rock's I'm a Piece of Shit, his most famous hit. But ladies and gentlemen, we've got a special edition of the Mobius Couch. We're actually the Swamp Couch, where we talk about swamp things with Dave. Dave's joining us. Let's introduce all of our hosts. Let's get us back on the rails here. Introduce all of our hosts of the Swamp Couch, where we talk about the swamp thing, but also sometimes not, as we find out today. So I'm Alessandro, and joining me as usual are Joe.
Hello. Hey, I'm Joe.
Hey, Joe. Patrick.
Hey.
Hey, Joe. How's it going?
Hey,
Hey, Dave.
Hey, Dave.
And special guest star, certified doctor of swampology, Dave.
Hey.
Welcome back. All right. Well, as we mentioned, it's a Swamp Couch because Dave is on it, but it's not a Swamp Couch because we're not talking about Swamp Thing. Although, as we'll find out, we're going to talk about a property closely tied to Len Wein, original creator of the Swamp Thing.
And his wife, Glynis Wein. She was the colorist on most of these issues.
And his wife, Glynis Wein. Actually, one thing we've talked about in the past is how colorists never get their due. So,
nope.
Good
And
point,
a lot of
Dave.
them are women. So,
yeah, maybe there's a connection between
who knows?
Historically not getting their due and being not men. Who knows? Maybe it's a coincidence. But we're talking about the Uncanny X-Men's Dark Phoenix Saga. This is an iconic X-Men saga from the Chris Claremont. Oh, by the way, for those of you listening, you won't see this, but Joe is wearing a very cool Cyclops visor.
These are just my glasses.
They're just to protect your eyes from optic blasting out. Is that all those are?
Yeah, sometimes the glare of the screen. I work on computers all day, so like the glare of the screen really starts to bother me. So I put these on.
Makes sense. But right, the Dark Phoenix Saga is an iconic X-Men run from Chris Claremont's run. He wrote it together with artist John Byrne, and as Dave mentioned, Glynis Wein also did the color work for it. So let's. Do we want to do like overall takes or do the history for I always forget the order of operations.
What is the order of operations?
Let's just do the context. Let's do the historical context first.
Yeah, we usually talk about the book first,
that makes sense.
And then we do overall. Do you guys not even know how our own podcast works?
I was going to say,
have you noticed recently, like as a crew of the Mobius Couch, have you noticed recently that Al doesn't know how to pilot anymore? We keep ending up in the wrong place at the beginning of the episodes. Just saying, we might need to have a conversation.
I actually did have a lot to say about Katy Perry and Justin Trudeau, though, but we can stick to Dark Phoenix.
Okay. Well, we can do a mini-sode about that. Also, I don't know what you're talking about because we never mentioned that in this dimension.
You're right.
So I'm not sure what we're even talking about. All right, but let's do some general X-Men context. And I know also, Dave, I know you're the resident scholar out of the four of us, so feel free to interject or add details as we go.
I got 3 pages of just X-Men backstory just to hear.
Right. So I'm going to go a little bit more general, and then, if you want to dig deeper, feel free. So X-Men, Chris Claremont is basically the defining X-Men author. other than, like maybe Jack Kirby was involved at the beginning, but Claremont really set the tone for what the X-Men are today. The 90s X-Men cartoon show would not be what it was without Claremont and Byrne, and on through time. Claremont had the longest running run on X-Men. He wrote that book from 1975 to 1991, which is pretty insane.
It's crazy.
That's an insane run. He created countless legendary X-Men characters like Kitty Pryde, Rogue, Psylocke, Gambit, Mystique, Sabretooth, on and on and on. Like, just insane contribution to the book. When he came onto the book in 1975, it was a failing book, basically. And actually, Len Wein, who we mentioned earlier and wrote Swamp Thing, Back to the Swamp Couch, was the lead editor at Marvel, and he's the one who gave Claremont the job. And Claremont had written a little bit for Marvel before, like some Daredevil stuff. Wasn't really a big name, but at the time, X-Men was like a nothing garbage, like didn't sell, was basically a dying garbage book. It was, right. So it was like that.
Stopped doing new stories in issue 66, and it was on 93, where it had just been reprinting old stories over and over.
Yeah, so that's the level, X-Men were at. And when Claremont was done in 91, X-Men was the top Marvel book. His X-Men 1 that he wrote with Jim Lee in 1991 is still today the best-selling single issue of a comic book.
It's 91.
It said 91 in Wikipedia.
Oh, 91.
Over 8 million copies.
Yeah, but that is still today the highest selling
issue. I was going to say, I think it's today still.
Ever made.
Yeah, and then second is like Death of Superman, but it's incredible. They're still finding just.
Well, it was also during that 90s boom.
Yeah. But so Claremont, just to hammer this home, like iconic X-Men author. John Byrne as well. He didn't draw the whole time that Claremont was on the book, but he was intimately involved with the Dark Phoenix Saga and Days of Future Past, and a lot of iconic runs for X-Men. And
also,
I'll stop there. If Dave, you wanted to add any other details about like Claremont's run on X-Men?
I got a lot here. So when X-Men was brought back in 1975, it was brought back with Giant Size X-Men #1, which is actually written by Len Wein and drawn by Dave Cockrum. And it's introduced the team that we have for most of this, but a lot of them were new. So Len Wein himself created Wolverine, Storm, Colossus, and Nightcrawler. And then after he wrote Giant Size 1, he handed it off to Claremont, and Dave Cockrum stayed on the art until 108. That's when John Byrne came on. I'll skip a lot of this, but so I've got some about Phoenix and the Phoenix story that was leading up to 129. If you want to go into that.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good idea because it kind of
let's set the stage, right? Because actually, another cool thing. I mean,
they reiterated about 1,000 times within the book itself, but
that is a staple of Claremont. That although
well, it's a staple. I mean, like that's a Stan Lee Marvel thing. Like every Marvel comic is someone's first Marvel comic.
Yeah.
So like reiteration stuff is like kind of a company-wide thing.
Yeah. Well, actually, Dave, why don't you? Because I have another Phoenix point, but why don't you start with kind of the background to bringing the Phoenix Force in as a either? Well, actually, this is another thing we can talk about, whether it's like a separate character or not from Jean Grey as a whole.
Yeah, that was
whole
that
thing.
Was my
but
focus reading at this time was trying to think about that. Phoenix first debuted in issue 101. In issue 100, the X-Men were up on a space station battling, what was his name? Stephen Lang, who's like a Oliver Trask acolyte. And they have to get back to Earth in a space shuttle, but there's a solar storm coming and nobody can pilot it without being killed. Jean Grey volunteers to pilot it telepathically. She does, and then in 101 they crash in the ocean and she canonically dies and then is resurrected immediately as the Phoenix. And Claremont has described his goal for that with Dave Cockrum was that they wanted to create a kind of cosmic hero, kind of like Thor in the Avengers, like a super heavy hitter. And they wanted to do that with Jean because she really had kind of been the kind of least interesting X-Men up until that point. And so that led into a storyline that culminated in issue 108, where with the Shi'ar Empire and the Starjammers, the X-Men have to stop an evil crystal containing a neutron galaxy from destroying the universe. And Phoenix like taps into the lattice work of the universe and completely rewrites existence to make sure this crystal doesn't shatter. And she's revealed to be this huge cosmic superhero. And that was John Byrne's first penciling issue.
Yeah, and related to that, so 2 points I wanted to make is one, another big contribution Claremont made to the X-Men is he's really famous for, to Dave's point, really beefing up the female characters in the team. Prior to that, it was like mostly Jean would try to use her powers and faint or things like that. It was, that was kind of like what the female members were. And Claremont was really the first writer to first stack the roster with more female characters and B, actually give them storylines and strong powers. And in fact, one of the reasons they ended up on the Dark Phoenix is one of the other kind of contributing editor writers at Marvel, Stephen Grant, brought up the point that Claremont was making Phoenix so strong that she was kind of imbalancing the team and was becoming like basically like Goku in Dragon Ball Z, where she was just becoming orders of magnitude stronger than everyone else and monopolizing power and ability. And so he kind of suggested, why don't you rebalance that by turning her into an enemy that the rest of the team has to fight? And that was kind of the beginning of this Dark Phoenix idea.
Yeah, and I think John Byrne had the same thought when he came in. Since he didn't make Phoenix, he didn't have any connection to her. And he basically said that he didn't like Phoenix from the beginning. He thought that she made everybody else on the team a fifth wheel and was trying to find ways to kind of write her out of the story as quick as he could.
A lot of fifth wheels.
She's one of several.
The whole car. You guys can just sit in the back.
Yeah. So following 108, there's a few like kind of, well, they're not filler stories, but like they fight Magneto again, but then he goes away. They get separated. The irregular X-Men team goes to the Savage Land for a few issues. Professor X decides to go.
Dave, we don't talk about the Savage Land.
We don't talk about the Savage Land.
I don't know if you're aware of this, but we hate the fucking Savage Land and having to go there and fight dinosaurs and dumb, senseless shit. We don't like the Savage Land.
That being said, the next X-Men story we're covering is the
We're going to edit this out. Patrick's going to edit this whole thing out. We're not going to mention the Savage Land.
Okay.
Don't edit it out, Patty. Just bleep it every time we say Savage Land so no one knows what we're talking about. Just, we do not talk about.
Anyway, the rest of the X team are off doing something else. And Jean is kind of left on her own after Professor X decides to go be Lilandra's consort in the Shi'ar Empire for a while. Claremont actually thought about Professor X the same way Byrne thought about Phoenix, where he thought Professor X was like a Deus Ex Machina that makes the rest of the team useless. So he was always trying to write him out of the story.
Good.
And
as it should be.
As it should be.
Yeah, and so the first instance that we get of something amiss is 122, where out on her own, Jean runs into a mysterious stranger named Jason Wingard, who we had never seen before.
The mastermind.
Well, the tension in that lasts all of about 3 seconds for you to read the panel, because immediately he has a thought balloon saying, I'm going to groom Jean Grey into becoming the Black Queen and take over her body and mind.
Well, look, it was the 80s, and we have to expository text everything.
Yeah, you have to
telegraph everything. Yeah, we cannot let the art speak for what's happening.
Like right then and there. It's just like, we're the Hellfire Club. We're doing this. And then in 125, there's a big scene where Phoenix is testing the extent of her power with Moira McTaggart, and Moira basically says,
"Time out. Sorry, time out, Patrick." Moira McTaggart.
Yeah. Moira.
You got, he did. Moira. You got it on one try. Okay. All right. Sorry, David. This is a running joke, but he got it on one try this time. Yeah.
Moira McTaggart.
And then in 126, she sees Jason Wingard again, and then this is the first time that we have a flashback question mark, where she has a time slip where she sees herself in like a 18th century Regency setting. It's very short, but she has that.
Problematic time period for both women and minorities. And we're going to get into that a little bit more later, but the most equal time to go back to.
And then 126, 127, 128, they fight Proteus for the first time, and we kind of leave the Phoenix stuff by the wayside because Proteus is more important, and that brings us up to the present. So when we get to 129, we've already met Jason Wingard before. He's already dropped hints that he's in the Hellfire Club and that he's directly targeting.
Well, he's not. He's the wannabe trying to get into the inner circle.
No,
he's not even really.
It. He just wants to be in charge.
No, isn't the whole deal that if he gets them Gene, he'll be kind of like, let it? Am I conflating him with the android guy? I thought he wasn't quite in the inner circle.
I thought he was already in.
And my read was that he was in, but that he was vying with Shaw for leadership.
Yeah, he's
control.
Vying for
okay,
power.
maybe I misread the nuance. Right, he's just trying to get control from Shaw, and he's already in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, forget it. Edit that out.
His play
Edit that out so I don't sound like a moron.
She's his play to oust Shaw as the leader of the Hellfire Club.
Yeah, but he can't. Oh, Shaw, by the way, Shaw without a shirt bouncing off energy attacks. I mean, come on, who's going to replace him as a leader? No one's going to replace Daddy
No one's
Shaw
taking that man. You kidding me? Look at that.
Nope.
Alpha male.
Yeah, so that gets us here where we've had a few flashback scenes before. Jean is kind of feeling, she's kind of enticed by Wingard because up until like 124 or no 126 she thinks all the other X-Men are dead, so Jason Wingard is like this new interesting idea, and then she keeps getting these flashbacks where she's a noblewoman and he's her lover / husband, so we already kind of have that percolating as we go into ramping up the Hellfire stuff.
Keep her away from that stable boy, Scott Simmons.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, well, let's so let's do quick overall takes and then jump into, the meat of this episode.
Go ahead. Al, what's your overall take?
My overall take is I don't like those transitions that are shocking.
What transition?
And noise-filled. But no, Pat and Joe, why don't you all start? Because Dave and I have been talking more so far. Why don't you all start with your overall takes?
I can go first, I guess. I'll be quick.
Sure.
It was, Dark Phoenix is probably the most iconic storyline, even though I've never read it really until now. So it was fun to kind of read the slice of history that is constantly referred to back, in current comics. They constantly do callbacks to this storyline. I'm a big Emma Frost fan, and this was a very traumatic moment for her going up against Jean. I laughed a lot while I was reading this, and I think sometimes Claremont was trying to go for the laugh, and sometimes I think just the dialogue just did not age well, and so it's pretty entertaining in that regard. We get to meet Dazzler, Kitty Pryde, and Emma Frost during the storyline, so that was cool. I thought the lineup was great. I really don't know if I would even if you were to ask me what my dream X-Men team is, it would probably be these specific characters: Colossus, Nightcrawler, Jean, Scott, Storm. Good dynamic there. Wolverine, we have Wolverine fatigue these days, but at this point in time, I can completely see why Wolverine became such a fan favorite, because he's incredible in these issues. Just like everything about him is fantastic. The way he looks,
not overused though. So it's like
it was just
a good amount of Wolverine.
So yeah, he was so good. Dazzler, I've got a lot to say about Dazzler when we get to it. It's a total icon. Professor X that we were talking about, total prick. I didn't realize he was always a prick like this. I thought that was more of a newer age thing, but he's like a total asshole, like even back in the 70s and 80s. So I thought that was interesting. The art was fine. The covers are pretty iconic. I was surprised how many iconic covers were in this run. And Claremont, I mean, you guys talked about that. He's, for a 1980 comic book, I thought it was a little bit painful to get through with so much dialogue, but it still held up for the most part. I enjoyed it. That's it. That's all I got to say.
Overall, I enjoyed it. Claremont is awesome, and I love all the characterizations of the character. I love the characters, and I like the lineup as well, Patty. But so many words. so many words. I mean, that's kind of the style of the writing at the time. So like, I'm not going to be like, I hated it because of that. But that does, I mean, it drags on. And there's a lot of like, every issue starts with like a summary of the last issue. And I'm like, oh God, can we just so it's a bit of a slog to read it now. I mean, I feel like I definitely read this when I was a kid, but I don't really remember. Most of my X-Men was actually X Factor up until Jim Lee's X-Men. That's when I started to really read X-Men. But like, I had definitely read this maybe when did the classic X-Men reprints come around? Dave, do you know?
Let me see.
I feel like maybe I read it in that, but at any rate, my older brother was the one who like loved Claremont's run on the X-Men, and he was always like, and I might have read some of his. I don't know if I read this entire thing, but he probably filled me in on details or whatever. But I really started reading Cyclops and Jean and Beast and Angel and in X Factor. So like and then of course that carried into Jim Lee's X-Men basically. But this, I don't know. The art's really good. I like John Byrne a lot. I loved his run on Superman back in the day. Like that kind of revitalized that character as well. It's solid, classic, but sort of ancient art at this point. Like it's not bad. It's just like, that's the art at the time, kind of thing. But he was particularly pretty good, And at least he was consistent. It's not like he dropped off for issues at a time and came back or something. Yeah, overall, I really liked it. The writing's solid, the art's solid, but it is an 80s comic, so there's a lot of like, a lot of extra words, a lot of rehashing random things, a lot of narration.
All right, I'll go next. Let's save Dave for last as the guest. I don't have much to add beyond what Patrick said. Love the team comp. You got Colossus as the muscle, Storm and Jean as the forces of nature, Nightcrawler as the shifty, agile, bamfing guy. Cyclops is just team leader, eye blast. It's just great team comp. Love the use of Wolverine. The Wolverine alone issue I thought was so much fun, and really that's the stuff that makes the character shine. Kitty Pryde is another iconic team member. I mean, in Whedon's Astonishing X-Men run and X-Men The End, she was huge. Just core. She's so much more than her initial introduction, I felt, was sort of as this kind of teenage ingenue joining the team. I felt like she was supposed to be kind of a cardboard cutout stand-in for a reader to live out as like a young member of the X-Men and learning, sort of like Jubilee was in the 90s run. Right, yeah. But since then, Kitty Pryde has become so much more. I mean, she's such a central figure in X-Men lore. And to see her get introduced and join in on the team here was really cool. And it's also, again, iconic run. We've seen it in cartoons, we've seen it in movies, it's been referenced all over. The Phoenix Force, good or bad.
They can't get away from it.
It's just huge. So all of that's great. There are some cons. It does feel a little bit dated in the dialogue, in the amount of over expository text we get. The art is good, but also that feels a little bit dated. So there's kind of pros and cons to it, but I still, if you're a fan of the X-Men, you owe it to yourself to read. This is like, I don't know, like to do calculus, you got to do algebra or something like that. That's not maybe a good analogy.
When classic X-Men came out, and this is they're just reprints of these issues, but like when classic X-Men came out and they just the updated covers alone, I was like, oh yay, and it's not like the art is that much better, and John Byrne even drew a few of them, but it's years later or whatever. But kind of, I mean, I don't know, just that much of an update to the art is like all it would have needed is to just be this come out like, I don't know, 10 years later, and everyone would have been like,
and well, I don't know if my school analogy was bad, but I just mean to say, if you're an X-Men fan, you owe it to yourself to do this work. Like read this, study it. This is the core of what you love in this property. The Days of Future Past is another, we call these quote unquote storylines, but these are, compared to today where we have like 12 issue arcs and stuff, these are Days of Future Past is I think 2 issues, and this is 6 or 7. So to call them storylines,
10 issues, and there's a double-sized one, so it's pretty
well big. You can.
Well, I mean, it's not also all of it. Okay. It's like the Hellfire Club is 3 issues, and then Dark Phoenix is like 2 issues. You know what I mean? Like, so it's really, it is to your point. Yeah. Like, it's not like supposedly. I mean, to read this story now, they collect it with what they think is what they deem pertinent to the story. But
but this was a long running. This was just issue by issue, long running. Yeah. Same creative.
Just classic serialized comics.
Yeah, but all of that has to say is just this is core X-Men stuff. You owe it to yourself to read it. And I was in certain parts of it, I was just giddy reading because I've seen references to this. Patrick shared this with the group, like by text, but there's that Wolverine alone pose where he's in the sewer with his arm like this was recreated for Kitty Pryde in Whedon's Astonishing X-Men. So there's references even just aesthetically to this run throughout X-Men later. And it was just, I was sort of smiling reading all of these as I read all this and remembering seeing the cartoon when I was a kid and seeing it here. It was all very cool. So I definitely did enjoy this run overall. All right, Dave, wrap it up for us.
Well, I mean, I don't know how much I have to add. I'm kind of with you on it. I mean, I love reading this. I follow your analogy that this feels like the kind of the epitome of the kind of Bronze Age like comic book serialized storytelling. We've got a lot of characters, we got a lot of kind of plot lines that are seeds of them are done over each issue, but each issue is still its own thing, so that you can, if it is your first issue, you can pick it up and still enjoy it. The art definitely has that very kind of like iconic late 70s, early 80s like comic book art with like very strong posing and just composition. You know, we haven't quite arrived at the like 80s where things get much more experimental, and I like Claremont's dialogue. What I feel like with Claremont is that he's touching on the idea of a more like mature, not in the sense of like adult, but in a sense of like more kind of elaborate storytelling and like the characterization. Like for him, reading some of his interviews about this, he really wanted to focus on characters above like plots. And I feel like he's got the handle on that, but like the language of comics isn't quite caught up to it yet. So that's why he leans so hard on like thought balloons and narrative captions, because like he doesn't quite have, like, as good as Byrne is, there isn't quite that language yet of letting the art carry a lot of this emotional stuff. And I feel like he thinks he has to really like hammer it with dialogue to be like, this is what the characters are thinking, this is how they're reacting. Where like if he rewrote this now, he'd let the art carry it a lot more. So
yeah, and one thing
has some of those like artifacts of the time.
Yeah, and one thing I think Claremont does do really well is his dialogue feels like each character is distinct. It doesn't feel like kind of the same voice through different mouthpieces. He does, you know, Wolverine talks like Wolverine, Cyclops talks like Cyclops, Storm talks like Storm. So he is pretty good for this time. He is pretty good about giving each of them kind of their own voice through dialogue and wording. He does some of the, I don't know, we'll talk about the time travel stuff. That was a little bit felt icky, but we can talk about it when we get there. Yeah. All right, but let's start. I mean, anything else to add overall, or because if not, let's jump into these bad boys. Let's talk about these issues.
I think we're good. Yeah, let's start.
So we're going to start with issue 129, which cost 40 cents.
40 cents?
I have it right here. 40 cents was the cost of it.
That's weird. Mine doesn't have that. The price is blacked out.
I think now, like, mainline issue comics are $6.99 or something, like $5.99, something crazy.
Yeah, well, not that much better, but yeah, not $6.99, like $4.99, $5.99.
$3.99.
It's $1 less than you're saying. Oh.
Okay.
No, but,
maybe $2.
Actually, time out. I want to see if that's held up to the rate of inflation. Give me 1 second.
I think $4.99 is the average now.
The average is $4.99.
$4.99 is, I find, kind of rare still these days. Like most issues are $5.99 that I'm reading. Most DC Marvel stuff is $5.99. But I mean, there's a lot of $4.99s. I would say it's like half and half. Like when I go up to the stand, or the cash register, it's like half of them are $5 and half of them are $6.
How does $4.99? It was like $1.25. Like in 2000.
I literally just say like every time I pick up a comic, I go 5, 10, 15, 20, and whenever I hit a certain amount, I'm like, too much. I'm done.
So back to the inflation point. In 1981, 40 cents is the equivalent of $1.34 in 2025. So we are above the rate of inflation.
Man, that's crazy.
We are well above the rate of inflation.
Holy shit.
But on the flip side of that, we're also, in theory, paying the artists and and the writers are living wage.
Well, in
Are we
theory,
now?
is the
Are
right.
we?
I
They're not
think in
slave. They're
theory-
not slave labor.
Well, also, there's
said
not
in
as much
theory.
ad space as there was in 1979.
That's true. We were just
Ad-
talking about the amount of ad
right,
space.
and the actual the
I just realized
physical
with this
paper
light,
of
I could
comics
kind of
is
like.
higher quality. I mean, I agree with you. It's way higher than it should be to be like a reasonable throwaway entertainment like comics were originally
Mhm.
envisioned. But like, I get it how we got here. Also, the '90s speculator boom was, we got a lot of.
So that X-Men issue that sold a gajillion issues. I mean, there was like the 4 gatefold cover. They were all separate, so everyone needed 4 issues or 4 copies. And then there was the one that folded out, so that was another one. Everyone, so that was a 5th. So most people, and I mean most people, literally already were buying 5 issues of that.
Yeah.
Let alone the people that are like, let me get 2 of every single one. So then you're up to 10. There's a reason that comic made $1 billion.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
All right, but
cover date.
didn't mean to go
January
on.
1980.
Yeah, I didn't mean to go on that big a tangent on the price, but
Wait, Dave, what were you saying?
Just cover date's January 1980. Actual release date October 1979.
Oh, okay.
Why would they do that?
Do you
Why
really
lie
want
to
the
us?
actual answer? I can explain it, but it takes a little bit.
I'd like to get content. Why from October 79
Never.
to January 80?
So, at this time, the primary distribution network was the newsstands, which is not just newsstands, but also grocery stores, convenience stores, things like that. And the distribution network at that time for newsstands was that the distributors would buy issues, send them to their point of sale actual sellers, and they had them on the racks for a certain period of time. And if they didn't sell, then the distributors could send them back to the publisher for a partial refund.
Oh, but did that depend on the technical date
Yes.
on the comics? So they forward dated it so that they couldn't send them back.
So you would post date your issues so they would stay on the stand longer and potentially sell more, so you'd get fewer refunds.
Ah, got it. Smart.
Ooh.
Hey, smart. And to your point,
Don't accept refunds.
or don't accept
Well,
refunds.
items
Well,
that
they,
you sold.
Actually, we'll get to that. We talk about some of the other stuff in this issue later.
yeah. Also, to your point, Dave, it does say copyright 1979 on the cover as well.
So the X-Men are leaving.
God spare the child.
God spare.
God spare the child.
They're leaving
Kyle
Moira
Lewis.
McTaggart and Banshee, and they're heading back home finally.
Yeah,
Banshee's
from their
smoking
adventures.
a pipe. Do you think that's
And
hash or what's he
officially
smoking in that pipe?
retiring with this issue.
Yeah, Banshee officially retires. Yeah, so he hasn't recovered from his injury when Thunderbird died, right?
Yes.
Is that what the deal is? Yeah.
I loved how much emphasis they put on his Irish brogue. Like, really,
Yeah.
really got it
I
in
mean,
there.
they had to. I mean, what else are you gonna do?
The Banshee is of no real use to you, boyo.
Banshee says
Also,
"boyo"
like-
every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
When they're leaving,
cartoon.
when the X-Men are leaving to go home, he says, "And may you be in heaven a half hour afore the devil knows you're dead."
Before the devil
He's like,
knows you're
"What?"
dead.
Why would you say that? They're not going into war. What are you doing? What? They're just going home. Why?
It's
are
an
you-
old
why are
Irish
you-
goodbye.
Yeah,
Everyone knows that, Patty.
Irish. We're so fucking depressing, man. Like, why would I
Also,
say
is
like
it that easy to sneak into heaven? Like, just if the devil doesn't notice, you can get
Yeah,
in?
you don't notice. He doesn't notice.
Okay. I thought you had to pass a test like at the gates, but you can just sneak in. if the
God's
devil-
literally not
Nope.
paying attention. The devil is the one. That has to react.
I think given the past 10 years, I don't think God is paying attention. I think a lot has slipped his mind, maybe. But let's talk about. We do get an intro to Jason Wingard right now.
Yeah, I like how their
mastermind.
planes just happen to be in the sky at the same time, and Jason's like, "Oh, let me try to fuck with their mind." Like, just real quick. That was pretty funny.
But I do like how his mind fucking is like they're in airplanes in the modern time, and in the past fantasy they're on a ship. So I do like how he's keeping it kind of topical. Like they're transporting by air,
Sure.
and so they're on a ship. So it's kind of neat of him, because he could have been lazy with it, but he chose to really give it that extra touch in his gaslighting of Jean, and I thought that was a nice touch. Also, Jean with that little mole on her left cheek is I like that look. I like that.
Lottie.
Pretty. You know, the best part about that is that that means Mastermind is literally going like, you know what she needs?
A mole. She needs a mole right there.
You know what she needs? She needs a mole right here. I'm gonna add it to the illusion. I know it's a little thing, but it makes me like her a little bit more.
Also, another thing about the Hellfire Club, Dave, maybe you have the background. Why do they in the current day dress like it's 1750?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's just
Oh,
meant
there's no explanation. All right.
Tradition, bro.
I think I've always gotten the impression that it's just supposed to be like a club, like the Illuminati, that's like been around forever.
Yeah,
like
I know,
they're
but
like
can't
always
they just
behind
wear a
shit.
suit? Why do they have to?
Can't
dress
they?
like
Can't
it's
they dress up?
1750?
Can't they just dress up and have a good time, Al? Why do you?
Whoa,
Leave them
I'm sorry.
alone.
Leave them alone with their eyes wide shut Dazzler concerts and just leave it alone.
It's just to me like it's not just very like drag adjacent. It's like these secret New York clubs in the
Very
80s
drag,
where
yeah.
they dress up. Like it's very very
Shaw's
House of Paris
definitely-
or whatever. Paris is burning. Yeah.
Paris is burning. Yeah.
It's very,
Shaw is definitely on the Kinsey scale. I'd say he's probably a 3.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he's the whole scale, bro.
He's
all over
he's got
everything.
He's got a thing for Scott. I'll call.
Oh,
that
yeah.
one there, but
Oh yeah.
big time.
Do you guys want to talk about
Anyways,
anything on this flight over before we get home and there's an intruder alert and it turns out it's Charles Xavier?
Well,
No,
I
my
like-
only.
Well,
note
I
in
just
this
want
issue
to talk about how the minute Charles is back, he says, "Go train for war" in my room. Like the second they arrive, he's like, "Great, now go train." And
He's like, I've left it to
yelling into the
Cyclops for
mic,
way
"Train
too
hard."
long. I don't even think you guys are a team. And he's like, we're not. We're individuals. He's like, exactly.
But it's just he immediately, to Patrick's point earlier in the overall takes, I always thought the kind of deconstruction of Professor X as like a grooming a child army and whether that's responsible or not. I thought that was kind of a modern invention. But he is
No.
in issue 1 of this run. He's immediately just horrible to everybody.
I'm glad you guys are finally on the same page that I've hated Charles Xavier since as long as I've been
Yeah,
reading
well,
X-Men
I
comics.
I think what it is for me was that my introduction to the X-Men was the 90s animated TV show. And in that show, he's very much the kind of level-headed mentor. He doesn't really have that aspect.
He's a little bit more of a father figure in that show. I agree.
assholery.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah, but
I always go back
in
to that
this, again, the minute they get back and they say, "Oh, Charles, you're back," yeah, he's just go train now, go train. You suck. Train harder. Ah.
he's like,
he's
you suck.
awful.
You suck so bad. He's like a terrible.
That's
Yeah.
not true. He said
sports
it's
He's
good
like,
to see
Colossus,
everyone
use
is
your
alive
strength.
and
You-
well. I'm happy to see you. You know, like that's all. And then the next minute is when he puts them in the danger room. It's
He's
fine.
terrible.
It's fine.
Let me do a little bit of defending here. He is a total asshole in
Okay.
this, but so this is the first time he's been back to Earth since like 114, and this is a surprise. Like we didn't know that he had been coming back until now. And later on in this scene, he's talking to himself about how he's back because he's afraid of Phoenix, that he felt Phoenix from space, and that he is afraid of what she's going to become. And the
Because
generous
he
read here.
fucked up her brain in the first
Well,
place.
actually, I don't know if that's actually what this story is saying. That later retcons may do that, but the generous reading is that he knows Phoenix is going to become dangerous, and he's trying to push the team to see if
That's
they can
fair,
get
but we're never going to read Charles Xavier from a
No.
generous standpoint.
I don't think it comes across very well. He absolutely sounds like a jackass in this. Like him saying, I'm going to give you demerits to fucking grown ass adults is
To
stupid
Wolverine
as hell.
specifically is nuts.
Yes,
Wolverine's
Wolverine.
like 200 years old.
Notify he doesn't say it to Wolverine. He tells Scott to say it to him. He's like,
I know.
Scott, notify
Well, he also-
notify, by the way, not tell. Notify Wolverine that his childish outburst will cost him 10 demerits. And
Well,
Cyclops is like, yeah, I know him pretty well. I don't think that's going to work, but okay.
Well, but he also treats Scott like shit. Scott is
Yeah,
saying like,
he
"Where
treats him
I've
like
I'm
shit here."
I'm building. a
Granted,
team
he
here.
does say something about it later when he's hanging out with Angel. I'm like, you're saying it to the wrong guy, man. He doesn't say
Yeah.
shit to Scott. Granted, as a reader, you're like, oh, he feels bad about how he treated Scott, and he kind of comes clean about it, why he was feeling that way and why he acted that way when he first got back. But you're not telling Scott that. You're talking to Angel. You don't say shit to Scott. Like the next time you see Scott, he's still an asshole to him.
Yeah, but
Anyway.
Joe, that's the typical male way to deal with emotions: is don't address them directly to the person you feel them at, but just talk to someone else about it, and then.
Yeah, well, in that case, Claremont's nailing it.
He says to Scott, "Forgive my bluntness, Scott, but to me that betokens a failure of leadership on your part. This anarchy is a result of your failure to teach these mutants how to be a team." And then Scott goes, "Professor, we are a team." And Professor X goes, "Quiet!" Insane.
Also,
Please keep
I
reading.
think
Patty, can you please keep reading Professor Charles Xavier's lines as if you're the monarch from fucking Venture Brothers?
Definitely. I do. Another thing I find problematic is given Charles's view on human mutant equality, that he says the failure of you to teach these mutants how to be a team feels like a weird choice.
I don't think he's using it as a derogatory term. He's just saying,
I don't know. It just feels weirdly targeted. But I don't know. Anyway, I just don't agree with.
Also, well, to just piggyback on that point, like I'm
Charles'
flashing
view.
forward, but there's Nightcrawler has a moment later where he's talking about he doesn't wear his image inducer anymore. And Professor X is furious at him about that.
Professor X wasn't happy about him not using it anymore.
It wasn't.
He's like, "You're not hiding amongst the humans anymore?" And he's like, "No, I'm proud of who I am."
Go back in the closet.
It's good thing Beast isn't around right now.
You need to be passing to be on this team, Nightcrawler.
Exactly.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, basically.
Not just passing. You need to be gorgeous. You need to be like 6-pack abs, flawless ass.
Well, we know Chuck doesn't allow ugly people into his house.
So the conversation turns to they've got 2 Cerebro alerts, and that there's 2 mutants they need to investigate. So the team splits to go, seek out these new mutants.
Yeah, and then we find out that the Hellfire Club is surveilling
them,
and we see that the Hellfire
planned
Club,
it.
Well, but they have a setup. They're the Shuffle
But there's
Alliance.
2 genuine new mutants. So did they plan it, or are they just piggybacking into the system and kind of and they know that they're going to
surveilling them. They're just surveilling them for their sting.
Yeah.
But they do have a G Gundam style Shuffle Alliance where they each have a card.
Oh yeah,
they all have a.
Yeah, and this is the first.
I didn't know it was based off of. I didn't know it was based off of playing card symbols.
White Queen, Black King,
White
King.
That's.
But there's not.
Well, they're not suits. They're colored. It's not suits specific,
I
guess. But
you're right. That's more of a chess thing. They should call their organization Checkmate. So we're introduced to Emma Frost, real fast, before they separate to go there.
Also, and Emma looks good. She's in a white dominatrix outfit, which she looks
her
good.
classic outfit.
Looks good.
Yeah.
Also, mole on her left cheek. Is that something Jason Wingard?
We all know Jason Wingard just added that.
Subconsciously
into
into
there.
that, but anyway, mole on the left cheek. I don't know. And then we meet Kitty Pryde. This is the big deal. This is Kitty Pryde. She's a big deal.
Kitty Pryde. She's kind of like they've made her the face of the X-Men these days in the comics.
Yeah, I also don't. I knew she was young, but I thought she was 15. But she's 13. She's real young.
Ooh, this is
they really emphasize the and a half part, which I think is funny.
Yeah,
they're a half.
This is anime manga style where they're just 13, even though you think
Sailor
they're
Moon.
20.
Yeah,
Sailor Moon.
I do.
Sailor Moon
The page where she falls to the floor and Emma's outside, and they're like, "What the fuck were you? I thought you went upstairs." And she's like, "Oh, I did. Sorry." Just runs back upstairs. I was like, it's weirdly hilarious. I don't her mutant power literally manifests the millisecond Emma Frost is near them.
But she is, and she is sort of, for I guess people of our generation, the same way that Jubilee was sort of this teenage stand-in for the audience in the animated series. I think Kitty was kind of that at this stage.
Yeah.
As sort of this young teenage member. She's not really a full-fledged member at this point. She's just sort of around and experiencing it as if you were in the Danger Room with the X-Men or hanging out.
For the amount she's in the book, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. At this stage, again, to Patrick's point, through time, she's become a really central figure in X-Men.
I love Kitty. I think she's one of my favorite characters.
Nobody does.
I'm a big
the only
Excalibur
character
fan.
we don't like is Charles Xavier. Everybody else is great. We specifically don't like Charles Xavier. Speaking of Chuck, he goes to kidnap her from her parents.
So
right
yeah,
now.
she like the White Queen tries to recruit her sort of, and just goes, "My school's better than Charles Xavier. Not that you should know who that is." And then 5 minutes later, Charles Xavier shows up, and he's like, "I have a school," and they're like, "Okay." But they go to hang out at a malt shop, and this one Wolverine decides to read some porn.
Let's talk about Wolverine. Let's just talk about it.
Can we talk about what Wolverine is wearing? He's wearing
and then
I want to talk about that.
khaki.
And then he wants to get in a fight with the proprietor of this establishment, who also sells milkshakes to children, and his newsstand is filled with pornography. Just trying to lay a basis of where we're at.
Well, look, at this
it's a malt shop filled with pornography that Wolverine's reading for free, and this guy does not let you read porn for free. You gotta buy.
You have to cater to a large spectrum of clients, including children who want malts and adults who want porn. Back to Wolverine. He's wearing a khaki on khaki on khaki, like cowboy hat, suit, pant.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. What's the problem?
He's wearing
white tie, white shirt, and a white
bolo
tie.
It's a bolo tie.
It's not even a regular tie.
It looks like a...
Do you guys not wear bolo ties and cowboy hats with the metal discs that go around the brim?
I'm a ranger in Montana.
He looks like he's dressed like John Voight in the Midnight Cowboy male stripper movie.
Yeah.
Is how he is
watched
dressed.
Midnight Cowboy.
Maybe, but
John Byrne was probably like, Midnight Cowboy, that's how I'm going to put Wolverine in this book.
Yeah, he is dressed like a male prostitute.
I like
Wolverine.
This ain't no library, fellas. You want to read that book because they buy the magazines, and I don't like being tapped, bub, or ordered around. And then Colossus just goes, Wolverine, no. like he's about to gut him in the middle of the store.
Yeah. Well, that's what in that when he's got like a legitimate Wile E. Coyote smile on his face.
Oh, he's like
smile.
looking for a fight with this guy. He's like, I know how I'm going to get this guy to start a fight so I can kill somebody. I'm just going to read his porn for free.
He's got, first of all, also a Colossus is dressed like Archie or something with a weird vest.
He's got a sweater vest over a polo shirt. It's fine.
Okay, which is a choice for him. But Wolverine, so Wolverine is the Penthouse guy, by the way.
Well, and Hustler. He's going through a lot of magazines now.
He went through the Penthouse.
Hustler's the first panel.
Yeah, but then he really held on to the Penthouse.
Well, yeah, and then he's about to he probably put Penthouse.
He didn't even get to the Playboy, but he didn't.
He's about to, and then the guy was going to start a fight, and he's like, "Fuck yes, let's go." And then
I do like the idea. I do like the idea that if Archie sweatshirt Colossus hadn't been there, Wolverine would have just gutted that man to death and read.
Oh yeah, 100%
over his dead body.
I don't think it. No, it wasn't Colossus. It was the actual fight occurring that stopped Wolverine from.
Well, yeah, because then we get weird flamethrower suit. Yeah, the Hellfire suit guys come in. Oh, first off, back to Wolverine.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how he's not sweating buckets because he's wearing his full
he put his full costume on underneath.
Under his like suede layers on top of that.
Well, also so is Colossus because he gets torched and all his normal clothes burn off, and then the next page he's wearing his full costume.
I don't know how these guys aren't dehydrate sweating.
Back to Wolverine though. Underneath the suit, he's got his superhero suit on, and underneath that, every centimeter of his body is covered in hair.
His hair, yeah. But that's Wolverine.
Phenomenal. It's phenomenal.
Yeah. It is.
We'll get to that when he gets freed from the cages later.
He gets fully
he's by the way, so these X-Men do lose the fight. They get captured. And Kitty's the only one who like gets away by accidentally falling through the wall. But when they're captured, it's hilarious because they immediately start stripping their clothes off.
It's amazing.
White Queen's like, all right, we got these 3 X-Men. That one that we wanted, the little girl, got away, but take their clothes off right away.
Well, can you imagine? So I know Deadpool and Wolverine kind of made fun of this, but if you think about Wolverine Origins and Wolverine 2, just what a specimen Hugh Jackman was. If instead of that, it was like a 5'2" dude covered in hair, like just this
covered in hair and just like busted
midget man covered in hair, just because that's what Wolverine is. It's wild.
So
It's just wild.
insane mutton chops. Like, yeah, I just want a ridiculous looking little man that's like 4'5".
It's amazing.
But
so
to their credit, though, Colossus, Storm, and Wolverine handle the flamethrower bots pretty well.
yeah, they do handle those guys, but White Queen comes in and just like mind
until White
zaps
Queen,
the fuck out.
White Queen takes them out, and that's
telepathic
kinda
force
too bad.
bolt.
White Queen
Yeah, I
also, her
she can
cape
shoot
is fur. Like, what season is this? Because
Yeah,
her
I
cape
don't
is
know.
fur. How are they not sweating buckets everywhere?
I don't know. I mean, do you sweat a lot, Al? Are you a heavy sweater?
I don't know, but Kitty Pryde, I know this is something I've mentioned before, but she's in platform open-toed shoes, which I'm not a fan of. But Kitty Pryde is. I know it's the 70s, but I'm not a fan of that. Okay. But that's what happens.
To your point, Kitty Pryde is wearing a tiny tube top with a little weird vest thing that's very small.
She's 13, bro.
I'm just saying she's wearing little clothes. So if it was cold, she would be wearing more clothes. That's all I'm saying.
Cool off, buddy. Joe, cool off, buddy. She's 13. But this issue ends with the team being captured and being stripped. Like the last page is them being stripped of clothes, and we see
they're
that
checking
Kitty
to make
sneaks.
sure it's classic comic books. You got to like take all their lock picks off of them. Everyone just travels with lock picks to get out of cages whenever you get captured in comics. So you just
Also,
gotta,
are the henchmen, are those masks or are they androids?
They're masks. They're people.
Yeah.
They're masks.
They're people.
Okay.
Which we'll get to in the Wolverine Alone issue.
All right. Well, let's move to issue 130 because this ends with we see that Kitty sneaks onto the Hellfire.
Yeah, Kitty's
jet.
still staying with them. Like, fuck, man. I mean, again, 13 and a half, that's fucking courageous as shit. She's like, oh, the X-Men got attacked. Okay, I barely know how my powers work. I'm going to sneak onto this ship and follow them. Like, holy shit. That takes some balls. Good work, Kitty.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Let me add one thing.
She's mature. She's 13 going on 18.
I definitely would have gotten an adult. I would have gotten an adult.
Who?
Professor X.
Yeah.
They got Xavier too, bro.
Issue 130. Still 40.
Also, they don't explain that. I'm thinking Xavier.
One thing before we go on.
Yeah.
So in the facsimiles, I was reading the Stan soapbox on this one, and first, like I told you, he's stumping for the Silver Surfer movie that never happens.
Mm-hmm.
But the back half of his blurb is he's talking about how the office gets letters all the time about people who miss the comics on the newsstand and then don't know how to find them. And he's like, well, let me tell you about this new invention out. It's called comic book stores. It's called bespoke stores, where fans have set up comic book stores that you can go there and buy issues and like do pull boxes and get back issues. And if you look in the ads to this very issue, you can find where some are even advertising where you can mail in for like their catalog and like buy back issues from them. So I just think
that is the internet back then.
Yeah.
Was the back of the issue where Stanley would be like, I literally have to write a letter and be like, there's comic shops now, everybody.
Yeah, no,
like kind of thing. Like,
stores
that's hilarious.
you can find our stuff on.
That's how you found stuff out. You had to read about it.
The one exception to that was Dr. No's in Marietta, Georgia, circa 2008, where if you didn't get the comic the day it came out, it was double the price.
It was immediately upcharged.
So good luck buying back issues there.
Yeah, and so to return to your thing about the newsstands earlier, so the direct market, which is what comic book stores are, because they could buy directly from the publisher and got wholesale price for that, they cannot return back issues. So the direct market was developing at this time and being seen as a good alternative to newsstands by the major publishers because they could send the issues to these direct markets. They never got refunds on them. The direct market people liked it because they could just order exactly what they needed and didn't need any more. It would reduce overall print runs because at this time, because you could get returns, everybody was like, we'll order more comics than we need so that we never are going to run out, which led to these issues being dramatically overproduced. The next issue actually has the publication information about how many issues are being printed each month, and they're printing 50% more issues than they need. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, and I think like if this is 1979. I think at this point the direct to market was about 4 to 6% of all sales for Marvel and DC. By 1991, the direct to market is like 90%.
Yeah, it's 90%. Yeah, that tracks.
Yeah,
I mean, back in like 84 or 5 is. I mean, like there was a comic shop near us. That's where we got all our comics. I mean, I would occasionally buy comics when I was like at a Kroger or a grocery store and the spinner rack was there. I'd be like, oh, let me grab something here. But like, I got most of my comics as a kid at a comic shop.
Let's move on to issue 130, February 1980, although it probably came out sometime in 1979. Which is the debut of
the dramatic debut.
Well, earlier we mentioned that Cerebro had pinpointed 2 New Mutants, one of which was Kitty Pryde, the previous issue. In this issue, we are introduced to the second mutant, who is the Dazzler. A couple points I wanted to make about the opening page here. Chuck's Bentley has a vanity license plate.
What?
Yeah. Chaz X1.
Chaz X1 is his vanity fucking license plate, which makes him an even worse. Dave, what's the positive?
Well, it's also a Rolls Royce, by the way. So then that means, I mean, what's X2, X3, X4? I mean, Ferrari.
But I want to hear you defend this character trait of Charles, that he has vanity license plates.
I don't think I have anything.
Yeah, okay. That's what I thought. This one you can. The other point I wanted to make is New York. New York in the 70s and 80s was a shithole. It was a cesspool. We kind of talked about this when we did the Spider-Man Craven issue, which also painted like a really grim, dark view of New York. But I do, New York now is like a hipster, rich haven of go out and party, everybody's beautiful and wonderful and rich. But in the 70s and 80s, New York City was a shit heap. It was disgusting.
Nightcrawler stays outside for obvious reasons. Cyclops and Jean go inside. And the first thing Scott says is, whoa, what a stench. I'll bet this place hasn't been cleaned since it was built. Just immediately. What a shit I'm walking into.
All the vile thoughts I'm picking up in the crowd.
Yeah. That.
It was just instantaneous. They're like, hey, we live in this mansion in the countryside. It's amazing, and we're driving a Bentley, and we're parking in the shittiest neighborhood in New York, and we're about to go into this club. I mean, like, what the fuck?
Scott and Jean just like, they're just talking shit about the venue, about the people that are there to see this performance. Scott goes,
also a weird Joker and proto Harley Quinn, are hanging out in the crowd.
Yeah. He goes, tell me, Jean, is this where old discos go to die? And then Jean, he goes, why don't you mind scan everyone in the building to see if the one's a mutant? And then Jean goes, scan the crowd with your psi powers? That's easier said than done, Scott. I can't screen out everyone's thoughts. Some of the images I'm receiving are so vile, but I can handle that. Part of me almost find those thoughts attractive. What? Gee,
that's Jason Wingard's influence.
Yeah, I think that's supposed to be the influence of maybe the Dark Phoenix and the Black Queen.
In the last issue, Wingard says, "I'm not putting anything new in her head. I'm just like touching on
unleashing.
He's
just unlocking."
Yeah. So
I get it because I
have
a
Phoenix,
suspicion,
really, not Jean. So
and I get it because I bet 95% of the sex Scott and Jean have is just missionary position, probably. Scott Pryde doesn't even go down on
toast, white.
So I get that she maybe wants more. I think she wants to realize sexually a little bit more. I get that. I can feel it.
I feel like they probably get into it pretty in more variety these days after the Krakoa.
Now.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Right. After their Wolverine thruple.
Wolverine's involved. White Queen's there every once in a while. We don't know what's happening.
But they do. So they go into this club, which is sort of like, it's supposed to be this kind of semi-underground punk club, maybe. That kind of feel.
It's
very
disco.
70s, 80s.
It's the Dazzler.
Well, that's what's so jarring. She's a disco queen. She comes out and she's a disco queen. Bright lights, silver bodysuit, like silver mask, with the disco ball around her neck. It's like not what you would think. I don't know if they were poking fun because I don't. Dave, maybe you can speak to this, but I think it took them so long. It took them like so long to develop her character that like disco literally died before they could introduce her. And I don't know if they're like poking fun at that in this issue. Like it made no sense where they were at. It was very punk rock, and it was the Disco Queen was the last thing I would have thought I would be seeing in that issue.
Yeah, well, she seems like kind of an ABBA Blondie hybrid, but to your point, right, it does seem like a punk rock venue. Yeah, it's kind of a weird.
What is she doing there?
Coalescing of all that.
Debuting.
Over heels.
Debuting her Disco Queen style.
Having
her-
said that,
her
she's
heels.
a badass. Like she's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, do you want to get into Dazzler right now? Because I have a lot to say about this lady.
All right, hold on 1 second. There's a scene of the Hellfire Club minions like looking at them on screens, and I just love it because it's like Cyclops. It's like it's pictures of them on the street as they're like walking in, and it's like Cyclops, aka Cyclops, and he's in his costume. And then Jean in normal clothes, aka the Phoenix, and then it's like Nightcrawler, just Nightcrawler. It's like it doesn't change at all. They're like, this guy in red glasses actually a superhero. This lady with the red hair actually a superhero. This guy that's a blue elf also just
it's a blue elf.
It's Nightcrawler. Don't worry about it.
Well, maybe if he'd worn his disguise to be a beautiful human,
He doesn't want to do that anymore.
He'd be taken seriously. You know, maybe that's all Charles was talking about.
There's a quick cut to the White Queen before we get to Dazzler, and like they have Xavier, and I don't understand. Like they don't show him get captured, so like, I just thought it was weird. I feel like he'd be a little more aware, not get captured so easily.
Yeah.
How'd they get him? Just crack him over the head when he was alone trying to wheel his wheelchair down the street or something?
He was
maybe
at the malt shop, so yeah, I don't know how they got him.
Yeah.
It'd be funny if he was in another corner reading other porn. and just mind wiped the.
He's at the end of the
clerk to
countertop,
not
just
look
drinking
at
a
him.
malt milkshake,
Looking at porn.
looking at porn.
Right, and in the meantime, one thing we haven't been talking about, so we're kind of doing twin storylines as all this Dazzler stuff is going on. Kitty is trying to help the naked X-Men out of cages.
Yeah, so basically all Storm does
Yeah.
is hand her apparently a phone number that she has in her panties, which I thought was a weird spot.
No, it's in the
She's like-
midsection.
She's
of
like,
her.
I took my lockpicks, but not this. And then she hands something to Kitty, and it turns out it's just a phone number. She's like, call this number.
Call this number quick. Find a telephone in the evil villain's lair and call this number.
Yeah, it was amazing. Anyway, yeah.
And
sorry.
pray to God
well,
that someone's by the car to answer the phone.
Yeah. So during this, while that's happening, what Jean Grey bumps into Mastermind or Jason Wingard, quote unquote, on the dance floor, and he immediately puts her back in time into the.
And they get married.
Yeah, and they
To
get
a
married.
marriage scene. Yeah.
And
Mhm.
as soon as they're
wedding.
married, and as soon
they're
as they're
making
married,
out.
she's in black leather, looking great, by the way.
They're
Looks
making out immediately, and Scott sees them in real time and goes, "What the fuck?" And he's like, "Scott, I love throughout this entire issue." Scott's like, "I got to talk to Jean about that guy on the dance floor." It's the best.
Weird.
He's like, "I thought Jean loved me, but like, she was making out with that guy on the dance floor like 5 minutes after we got there."
Yeah. Well, she brings it up. She's like, "We need to talk," and he's like, "Yeah, we do, just not here right now. Maybe somewhere more private, a little bit later."
Yeah.
But... Well,
I
Alan,
love
do you wanna-
I love Nightcrawler answering the phone. By the way, like just hanging in
yeah,
the window.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, but so Nightcrawler answers the phone. Anyway, to wrap all this up, he finds out that the other X-Men are in trouble. At the same time, more Hellfire minions attack the X-Men at the club. Dazzler gets involved and helps fight them off. I want to call to the forefront a single panel of this that was my favorite moment in this entire
It's
run.
like, yeah.
After they defeat the Hellfire Club, Cyclops pulls Dazzler aside, and Dazzler says, "Call me Dazzler, darling. That's my name. That's what I do. I dazzle people." Okay. Cyclops says, "Have you ever wondered where your light powers came from?" Dazzler answers, "Nope. Period." That is my favorite moment of this
It's
run.
so funny because it's like you're expecting, like they've debuted this new character that you're like, oh, this chick's gonna like join the X-Men. It's gonna be like a new thing and like a new person. And she's just like, here I am. I'm awesome and I'm powerful and I helped you fight these guys. And then he's like, hey, have you ever wondered where your powers come from? Maybe you want to join the X-Men. And she's like, nah.
Nope.
Like, kind of like, holy
But I
shit,
just,
amazing.
first of all, I love that because it's such a unbothered alpha outlook. 'Cause
Yeah.
like, haven't you wondered if you're a mutant? She's like, no, man, I'm just awesome.
It's
Yeah,
I'm
wild.
just me.
It's
I'm the
Dazzler is
Dazzler. I
fascinating.
dazzle. Did you
She's
notice that I
fascinating.
dazzle?
She's fascinating this because she's like we said, she's a disco queen performing for a bunch of punk rock people. So that's already a pretty courageous thing to do because I don't think that's what they want to hear. A bunch of guys in Iron Man suits show up. She's so proficient with her powers that she puts one of them into a coma. And then Cyclops asks her if she's ever thought about her powers, like where they come from. And she literally has not given a single thought about it in her entire life. And then he goes, "You're a mutant." And he explains, like, people are coming after you. And her response is, "Are you serious?" she's so unbothered. She's so, but at the same time, so professional. And I'm going to kind of skip forward. She tags along with them and fighting.
He basically said,
supervillains.
well, Cyclops says, for your own safety, you might as well just stick with us for like now. You know, like, I don't, it's cool that you don't care at all about what we're doing, but maybe just stick with us for a minute.
Well, like after this issue, the next issue, they defeat more Hellfire people, and it's like a hard cut to like the Blackbird that looks more like a UFO though, like in Central Park. And out of the Blackbird, there's a thought bubble that's just going, "This is crazy," and it's a cut to Dazzler inside of the Blackbird, and she's in the most like nonchalant pose, just like leaning on the table, and she's just totally plussed by the entire situation. She just goes with the flow, and then when Professor X towards the end is like, "Hey, do you want to stick with us and help us fight this like world-ending, universe-ending threat?" She's like,
Nope.
"Nah, no thanks.
Sounds like
I got a gig. Sorry." Her character was just fascinating to me because it did seem like they were setting her up to join the X-Men, especially with her being on the cover of this issue, and for her to just be like totally checked out the entire time. I was obsessed.
Yeah, I mean, Dave, earlier, like, it seemed like you had maybe more background on what happened with her character. And
so, 1979, disco wasn't dead yet. It was starting to take a downturn, but it was still popular. Jim Shooter, I read his blog about this. He says, like, mid-1979, he's called into the boss's office, and they're like, we're already doing this multimedia stuff in Hollywood. We want to also court this idea where we're going to have a cross promotion with a record label. We need you to make a character that we can then sell to a record label to be like a Hannah Montana sort of situation. Where,
Secret Star, pop star.
We're going to make this character. She's going to be like a disco dazzler. Her name was Disco Dazzler. Performer. And then she's going to have like a secret identity as a regular person. We're going to make the character. We're going to sell it. We're going to contract with a record company. They're going to hire a model/singer to be her in real life and cut singles as the Dazzler and go on tour as the Dazzler.
Nice.
And then like spin this into a TV special and like a whole like record like album thing. And so Shooter's like, okay. And he like tells two people to like come up with the Dazzler. They come up with it. They put it in this issue of X-Men. He forgets about it until months later when they actually he's introduced to a meeting with Casablanca Records, and they're like, "We love this idea. We're all in on the disco craze and this Dazzler. We're gonna hire somebody. We're gonna cut these albums. We're gonna do it. We want a treatment for a TV special to introduce her to the wider audience." And Jim Shooter writes this insane pitch where it's like Dazzler, Spider-Man, and the Avengers get transported to an alternate post-apocalyptic New York where it's controlled by two rival factions.
It's already amazing.
One faction is controlled by like the Witch Queen, who is Cher, who's going to be played by Cher.
Yes.
Oh no!
Yes.
The other backstory is Casablanca Records is like, we love this, we want the pitch, but you need to include celebrities we already have under contract to do work for us.
Makes sense. You got to get the synergy.
So we got the Witch Queen led by Cher, and then she has a group of enforcers called the Death Dealers that would be played by Kiss. And each one is going to have powers based on their on-stage persona.
Nice.
the other half of New York was controlled by like the Fire Queen, who was Donna Summers, and she was going to have her own enforcers called the Stompers, who were going to be the village people.
Yes.
Oh my god!
Who also have power
Oh my
points on their
God.
personas.
Why did this not become reality? This
Also,
is
Jim
amazing.
Shooter, rest in peace. Also,
Yeah.
you were apparently, allegedly, sort of an asshole.
Yeah, allegedly sort of an asshole. But then Dazzler was going to get separated from the Avengers and Spider-Man, and she was going to be found by Tristan, played by Robin Williams. This is hot off Morgan Mindy, Robin Williams. And they were
Hot
gonna
off Morgan Mindy.
they were going to fall in love, and then they were going. It was they were going to run into a team of 3 sleazy attorneys named Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe. All 3 played by Rodney Dangerfield.
Jesus Christ.
The crazy part is they drove around in a Bentley with a license plate Chaz X1.
That's X1.
And there was going to be a prophecy where like Dazzler was like the like star queen that was going to bring balance to the force or whatever, and defeat the evil Lord Chaos, who was a demon, but was
Holy
actually the
shit,
3
this is
Rodney
insane.
Dangerfield lawyers pretending to be human. And then like
This is bonkers.
Yeah,
Also,
I
Jim Shooter, much like Kitty Pryde, started in the comic industry when he was 13 and a half.
and then at
He's
the
a big
end,
Legion of
the
Superheroes guy, Patty. He made Karate Kid. He made the Fatal Five.
Oh.
He made Pharaoh Lad.
Yeah.
Smart.
Ultimately, the prophecy was
Heavy
going to be
hitters.
revealed to be a lie, and
Princess
Dazzler was
Projectra?
going to have to sing like a song that would bring everybody together and end the war in post-apocalyptic New York. And he delivered this pitch, and everybody in the room, the record label and Marvel, was like, "This is too good for a TV special. This has to be a feature-length movie."
It is too good for a TV special. It sounds phenomenal.
And they,
If
and then,
only they had made half the shit that they cooked up when back then.
and then the head of Casablanca Records got sick, and I think later passed away, and none of this came to anything. And then a few years later,
God.
they were looking to, this direct market with the comics was heating up, and they decided we need to come up with, let's try to do our first direct market only comic, no newsstand distribution, but we don't want to do a big character because it may piss off the newsstand distributors. So they picked Dazzler. Dazzler's solo series was the first
Yeah.
Okay.
only comic, and it was a huge success. It ran for like over 43 issues, which is more than a solo Wolverine series had for years and years.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, but no, all that is just, boy, cocaine in the 70s was a hell
Oh
of a-
my
Yeah.
It was a real
They were just
thing.
like, this is what I'm thinking about. Picture Cher and Robin Williams. Hold it in your mind.
If I was Larry Ellison's kid who bought Paramount, I would make them channel that entire media conglomerate
That's-
into making that movie a reality.
Yeah.
To
Could you
making that
imagine-
Dazzler movie.
Kiss fighting the village people with arrows. Like, what the fuck?
Be
Oh my
insane.
God.
All right, let's move on.
He shot for the moon.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and he landed on Jupiter. He went
Yeah.
way past the moon.
Which is fine.
All right, let's do issue 131. Still 40
Prisoners
cents.
of the White Queen, Al.
Prisoners of the White. Run for your life. Run for your life, X-Men. All right. So
Talking about how this is like kind of mini arcs leading into a bigger thing, like this whole White Queen lead up to the Hellfire Club is kind of fun. It was a fun way of doing it.
yeah.
Like she's working with them / for them, I guess, with them. I don't know. Is she an official member, or is this like her?
I think she's an official. She is an
think she
official
is.
member.
She's an official
but,
member.
Yeah.
She uses her. They go into it in Astonishing or maybe New X-Men about her, how she got her start there. She started off as like a dancer, and she pretty much projected. She would project herself being more attractive to the men in the Hellfire Club, like telepathically, and then she talked about how she didn't know how to dance, and so she would project. She'd like be flailing wildly in front of them, but like project, an image of
Whatever
a woman.
they imagined in their brains.
Very seductively, yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense.
That's one way to do it.
One little thing that we should touch on before we move too much further forward, and there's an example of it like on the second page of this, but Jean Grey is continuing to do random Phoenix-like things that Scott's like kind of going like, that's scary. I didn't know she could do that. Or like little thing, it's little things like that. But like one of them in this issue is that she just stands in front of a car and just takes it apart with her brain.
Yeah, well, I was going to say
like,
she does bigger.
Yeah, so she does big things
things
too. It starts with little things like, oh, she just turned us from clothes into our costumes in 2 seconds without even thinking about it. That's crazy. I didn't know she was capable of, rewriting the molecules of our clothing, but okay. It's just little stuff like that that's like building into like, her powers are growing very rapidly in strength. But yeah, Kitty Pryde running away from Hellfire Club goons.
Yeah. So when this issue starts, right, so Jean becomes a Phoenix and blasts a Hellfire car that was chasing Kitty. And then we get Nightcrawler in a nice event of sort of doing things, finally. He bamps and helps Kitty. And he's a good guy. He's just a good guy. Hey, don't be frightened, little one.
Good guy.
Nightcrawler.
Good guy.
He's just a wholesome good guy.
No?
He's the kind of guy who wouldn't read porn in a malt shop.
That's
would not.
100% true.
You would not.
He's the kind of guy that questions whether or not they should save Jean later based on the fact that she committed a Holocaust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's one of those good Christians that like lives by Christian principles and doesn't force his religion on other people.
Also, another Dazzler note. So when they catch up to Phoenix, she says like, wow, Cyclops has been kidding about Phoenix's telekinetic powers. And then a thought bubble of Dazzler's is, compared to this, my mutant ability to create fancy light shows is nothing. So she went from like, never thought about it to, I'm a full mutant and I accept that.
That's what I'm
like over a second.
She's just confident.
She's inner monologuing about her own mutant powers.
They flew from New York to Chicago or whatever. It's a decent amount of. It's a decent flight.
I just love how she's
to think about your existential crisis and who you are as a human. Now mutant.
She's never thought about her powers before, but she's so proficient with them that she like every time it's like up to her to execute a part of the plan. Like she does so flawlessly. She makes no mistakes. Like she's like a full-fledged member.
Well, there is one part in the fight in the last issue, Patty, where she says something like, "Oh, I just wanted to like blind that guy, and I like blasted the fuck out of him, and I didn't mean to," kind of thing. Like, I mean, not to diminish your point because it's true. She's crushing.
You diminished it. You diminished it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. She does say something about that. That's all I'm saying. She'd actually go, "Whoopsie." Blast the fuck out of that guy.
He's dead now.
Right, but so Jean mind reads the goons, and they find out that Emma Frost is hiding the people at Frost Industries. She just has a factory.
Well, there is. They do. Well, first of all, Nightcrawler saves Kitty, which is adorable. But then she immediately phases away and hides from him because he's scary.
So, yeah.
And then Jean's like, all right, I'm going to put on normal clothes and I'll find her. And, anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
Back to
the irony is that Jean is a much scarier person than Cyclops is.
Yeah. Or Nightcrawler. But yeah.
The Nightcrawler, sorry.
And then Nightcrawler on the plane goes, I don't think the little Fraulein likes me. He's kind of pouting. He's like in a little, I don't think she likes me very much.
One note I wanted to make is that Emma Frost has Storm in a crucifix shape, just like Magneto in the X-Men 92 cartoon reboot.
Oh yeah,
when Magneto was in the black underwear.
Very common way to hang up a mutant on the X-Men team is to put them on.
Yeah, I guess it's standard at this point. It's standard procedure. You put them in black underwear and in a crucifix.
Well, it's also Wolverine's iconic pose in the what was that storyline?
Oh yeah, with the skulls and
the Marauders or whatever.
Kitty runs in to save them, and Aurora is gone, being tortured by the White Queen. I'm not really sure, because later on when Shaw reveals what he wants them for, I guess, is to
that was interesting.
Engineer his own mutants for hire or profit.
No, I think for sale. Yeah, so he's like Mr. Sinister,
and then
but like different.
Yeah, very Mr. Sinister. But then what she's doing to Aurora, I'm not even sure. She's just fucking she's probing her mind, but I'm like, what is the purpose of that? If you're just using them for stock, Like I don't know what White Queen's game is here. I guess what I'm saying.
I don't know. She just kind of says, "Let's continue with your examination," but doesn't really say what she.
I mean, maybe
needs
they're just
from
trying to
her.
get all the information they can so they can fucking make their own mutants, I guess, for sale.
Or maybe they're just trying to break her. Maybe
they want
Storm-
vending machine mutants. I think that's basically
they're trying to like, yeah.
But yeah, Kitty comes in, and since Aurora's gone, she frees Wolverine and then gets zapped real fast. But then Wolverine's like, "You just made the biggest goddamn mistake in your life, bro."
Well, I like Wolverine's line was, "You just made the biggest mistake of your life and the last," which is that's kind of like
that's an integral point. Yeah.
Movie line of
Wolverine is just pure sex, man. It's just
that
rippling.
dude is hairy.
This is the
body
scene,
hair.
Patty.
Shit.
God damn.
This
Like,
is the
that
scene.
dude is hairy
Him
as
getting
shit.
out of that cage, like he's stumbling out, like he's
Like-
John Byrne.
I was about to say,
Had
how
to draw
long
all
did it
those
take
individual
John-
hairs.
That's what I was just about to say. It's insane. It's insane.
It's not like the illusion of hair. He's literally drawing hair after hair after hair on Wolverine's bottle for panels at a time.
You can't like copy that in Photoshop and just like copy and paste.
Nope,
all
they
of it.
didn't have that back then. There's no
I-
hairbrush.
I bet when they were plotting this out, Claremont was like, "All right, in the next issue, Wolverine will have his suit on again," and Burgess was, "Oh,
And he's
thank
like, "Thank God."
Oh my
Yeah,
God. He's
yeah,
like,
probably.
I can't draw any more hair.
What if he just like drew the outline and then just wrote like add hair here, and then the inker Teriyaki goes, "Fuck."
Yeah, that could be right.
The inker's like, "Son of a bitch." I was gonna say, would it be funny if it was the inker?
Yeah.
Because it's not like the inker could be like, "Let me trace all these exactly."
Yeah, and he just kind of like hit the impression of it. So
Yeah, he's like, "This is what I want him to look like, times 1,000."
yeah, and
I'm
I like
literally-
how Wolverine becomes like almost immediately protective of Kitty.
Of Kitty, yeah. It's interesting because like that's such a big
Beginning-
relationship in comics.
Yeah, and this is like the beginning of the Wolverine having like the female ingenue, like
Yeah, he always
Mhm.
kind of has, right? Jubilee in the cartoon, Rogue in the movies.
and then like
All down
Armor
the
in
line,
the
yeah.
Astonishing Run. Yeah.
Armor,
Yeah.
yeah.
This is kind of
He
the
does,
beginning
wow.
of that trend. Yeah.
They should do a
He
team
he
book,
finds a
Wolverine
little monster to protect, and he does it. Does his job.
X-23.
I
he
love
kinda
how him and
mentors,
Kitty
yeah.
keep coming back together, though. I mean, like it is like, well, at least for very many years, it was just Kitty. Like this, all these other instances are very.
Yeah, this was the first
Yeah.
of that.
It was just like, I'm going to protect
Prototype,
the kid because
yeah.
she's a kid, kind of thing.
This is a total side talk. Like I'm just realizing now that Dazzler has been in roller skates this entire time.
Yes, she has roller skate bottoms on her shoes. Yeah,
If you look her up on Wikipedia, her powers and abilities, the last bullet point is proficient roller skater.
yeah.
Proficient, not master.
Master. Yeah.
Pretty good.
He's a journeyman.
What are your
But
other powers?
Yeah.
Well, I'm pretty good in a pair of roller skates. I don't know. I would say proficient. I would say proficient.
God.
But is that training
Not
or is
hired.
that her mutant power to just be good enough at skating?
They used to give mutant powers like weird descriptions back in the day. Like, so yes, maybe is my answer.
All right, so they fight a bunch. I do want to just highlight this panel.
Oh, yeah.
Jean's butt
Jean
looks
girl.
great. She is serving up
Looking good.
some layer
Jeannie.
cake. That is a thick stack of pancakes that she
Yeah.
is showing off there.
Looking
Well,
good,
so
Jeannie. I like
Next
the.
man, she's looking a little scary.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah,
She's
well,
definitely
that's-
like, I'm
yeah.
gonna fuck you up now. Like, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's a
This-
party in the back, horror in the front.
Yeah.
Look,
I did enjoy.
Um,
I did enjoy this confrontation, like seeing the original confrontation between Jean and Emma, because New X-Men was probably when I really got into X-Men comics outside of the cartoon show, and this moment is really Emma was really fucked up by this. Like, I think she's in a coma for a long time after this confrontation, and
She's
then
gone after this for a long time.
yeah, for a
Yeah.
long time. And they, after New X-Men, after Jean dies, there's I think a side issue about like the Cabal when Emma's being forced to work with Norman Osborn, but she brings up this instance and how much it changed her as a person and just like where she went after that. And I just find their whole dynamic fascinating. so seeing where it is now and where it started, it was fun to go back and read
to finally see the origins of it.
Yeah, to see the origin of where this all started between the two of them. Because Emma references this all of the time about how Jean just like she's terrified of Jean from this point forward.
Yeah,
I mean, it gets to the point where she respects her, but like Emma's legitimately terrified of this woman from this point on. It's like a really interesting
rightfully
dynamic.
so, I would say.
Yeah,
right.
I mean,
But the funny thing though is for Jean, this was a Tuesday.
Yeah,
she doesn't even remember who she is.
It's like one of those things where somebody leaves an indelible mark on somebody, and the other person has no memory of it because they don't care.
It's like
I love the
Mad
panel. I
line
know
where-
it's a quick thing, but I love the panel of Nightcrawler bamfing like 3 times real fast to like
he
punch somebody
fights
at the
like
same
3
time.
different people.
Really cool.
Fights. That's pretty cool.
Well, they're shooting at Dazzler and Cyclops, and he's just like, "I'll take care of that." Bam, 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 and I'm like, that was
Well, this is because this issue is kind of a mini climax within this mini arc, and so everybody kind of gets their flowers. Everybody has cool moments. It's Colossus armors up and beats
punches
people down. Nightcrawler
one sad human being, by the way, a human, just punches him straight like he's dead.
Yeah,
I did. I really enjoyed when Cyclops,
well, at least a CTE or 2, but maybe not 10.
When Cyclops sees that Colossus and Kitty are fine, he goes, "What happened to the guards?" And Colossus goes, "Wolverine dealt with them." And then Cyclops just goes, "Oh." Like they're dead.
They're murdered. They are murdered. No, but it's a good issue where sort of everybody has a cool moment. They all.
I don't know what's it. It's later on, Patty, I think, but Wolverine or Cyclops says the same thing, kind of thing. He's like Wolverine did something. He's like, I don't even want to know, and if I find out, the professor probably wouldn't be happy or something like that. It's an allusion to like Wolverine murdered 17 people, and they're like, okay,
so
kind of thing. Shit.
My favorite part of this issue is they fight everybody. There's a cave in. The Phoenix Force explodes out of the rubble. Storm and Phoenix survive. Everybody goes, "Oh, we made it. We fought off the Hellfire Club." And at that point, Charles rolls in and says, "I knew I was right in holding back and playing observer." And that was my favorite moment of the comic.
He says, "Well done, my X-Men." And Nightcrawler goes, "Professor X?" And he goes, "I knew I was right in holding back."
Yeah, but not
now
only
let's
that,
be on our way before the authorities arrive.
Yeah, he follows up with "Let's get
good
out
job
before
fucking
the cops
shit up.
show
Let's leave before the cops get here."
Yeah. So I just laughed when I read this the first time. I lost it because he just rolls up at the end and goes, "I knew I was right in staying away. Now let's get out before the cops get here." It's incredible.
Also, Jean fucks. So again, another little Dark Phoenix hint. When they get back to Kitty's parents, Jean fucks their brains because they're like yelling at Xavier, and she just goes, "Well, how about you're happy now?" And Cyclops is like, "What the fuck? What did you just do?" And she's like, "Listen, they were gonna freak out, and I stopped them freaking out. It's okay. Don't worry about that."
Also, Professor X is the only one that doesn't have a problem with that. He's like, "Yeah, we do that all the time."
Yeah,
he does do it all the time.
Super.
Well, he also
I do it to you guys all the time.
When Dazzler turns him down, he says, "Oh, I scanned her mind. It's fine, Scott. Don't worry."
Yeah, because Scott's like worried. He's like, "What? She knows all about us. She knows our names. She knows where we live." And he's like,
and she couldn't care less.
And she couldn't care less.
Care
or
about
maybe she won't remember it after this.
But I just mean to say that he just so flippantly says, "Oh yeah, I violated her mental."
Oh yeah, 100%.
I mean, he's just
he's a horrible person.
Yeah,
he's a horrible.
Couldn't
person.
help it. I love how every time they do it, they're like, "We couldn't help it." Their thoughts. She was like screaming at me.
Yeah,
I couldn't drown
out. Charles
the
is just like, "I just fucking did it." I just did what needed to be done.
Also, Kitty's dad, an ugly man. Ugly man. Unlike later, we're going to meet Jean's dad, who
he's
looks great for his age, but this guy is not a handsome man.
Is that it?
I like Cyclops and Storm kind of having a moment of like, we're both worried. You're worried. I'm worried. Okay, we're both worried.
Yeah.
I like Storm a lot in this. I thought
Storm's always.
I was going to mention it way later when she does more accomplishable, obvious things, but she's a fucking home run throughout the whole thing. Like,
I like even
friends
like
Kitty right away. Like, just little things throughout. I'm just like, wow. And she's the only one holding it down right now. And then as it continues, you're like, wow, Storm's the only one doing anything right now. And like continues, and you're like, wow, Storm's the only one doing anything right now.
No, Storm
It's
is.
just,
But Storm's always
she's
good.
consistently
she's
awesome.
great.
Yeah,
she's always good. She's great.
And also, it reminded me, the way she talks about Jean in this reminds me a lot of how they treated her in X-Men 97 with her and Jean.
Yeah.
Like talking about how they're sisters all the time.
Sisterhood.
And I was like, interesting. This seems reminiscent of that new cartoon that is now like, giving her more of a personality.
It's the Sisterhood of the Traveling Tights. Am I right? Because they wear superhero tights.
I get it.
All right, shall we go on to issue 132? Or Dave, did you have anything to add about this issue?
I mentioned earlier, this issue has the statement of ownership and circulation in it, where they every year they had to actually print the true numbers of the sales. So this is for the last 12 months. The average number of copies printed of X-Men, 327,387. The average number of sales, 171,651, for a 52% sell-through, which is high for the newsstand distribution era. Most comics didn't sell over like 40% of their total inventories.
Why
I think if a Marvel comic today sold 150 issues, they would orgasm in the boardroom. I don't think they've sold that amount of comics.
Yeah, that was just business as usual. Because again, like you overprinted and over distributed because you could always send it back for a partial refund. And I think when Marvel got these back, some of them they put in back issue like reserve, and a lot of them they just pulped. So like somewhere between 30 to 40% of every comic published during this time was just recycled after it was printed. So you could see why the direct market was so attractive, where it's like, okay, we get this number of orders in from these comic book stores. We know how many issues to print. We don't ever get them returned to us. Let's cultivate this market. So yeah, it's wild to think that they would just know ahead of time we're going to destroy half our print run.
That's nuts.
Yeah. But yeah, no, so you're right, Alessandro. Yeah, if any comic now sold 171,000 issues a month, they would be over the moon.
They would lose their mind. Like they don't sell anything near that anymore. Yeah. Shall we move on to issue 132? Still 40 cents.
Yeah.
Still 40 cents.
Still 40 cents. Oh, it says it on this one now. For me.
And Hellfire.
They didn't white out the price for some reason. So they go to visit Angel and his new girlfriend, which I think is very interesting, mostly because he immediately walks up to Jean and starts making out with her. You're looking good, Blondie. You're not so bad yourself, Red. We keep this up, Jean, and we're liable to make Scott jealous. And they're literally just straight on kissing on the lips in front of everybody. And then his girlfriend walks out and goes, I don't think Scott's gonna be the least of your worries. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Is that agree?
Candy wasn't having it.
And then he immediately picks Scott up and flies them. This is like a real.
He's like, we need to talk somewhere private. He's like, privacy, you got it. Yeah. And Scott's like, what the fuck? I just meant like over there.
It's a real alpha flex. He kisses his girl and then just picks them up like a baby.
And then just like, and then like a baby and flies them away.
I'm a member of the Hellfire Club.
Yes.
Yeah. Just real fast. Oh, the Hellfire Club? I've been there.
Yeah.
It's so.
It's for me.
I'm not in the inner circle or anything, but I'm rich enough to be. I just
look, he's Warren Worthington the 12th or whatever. He's
like, we went there one time and then we didn't like it and we left. And I was like, that doesn't sound right, Warren.
Yeah, no, that sounds like
I do like how he said
you probably hung out a little bit.
Well, I like how he said, I'm a member of the Hellfire Club. So's Candy.
So's
like
Candy.
My girlfriend is too.
Yeah.
We're all.
She's also rich. Was just kind of suspicious the way he was saying it all. He's like, I inherited the membership, Scott. I didn't buy the membership, but I inherited. We went just one time. I didn't
Yeah.
tell them anything about you guys. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, it's like
It was very
What the fuck
Epstein
saying?
list denial.
He,
I was like,
yeah, he definitely doth protest too much.
way too much. Like Scott hasn't even asked a question yet. He's just like,
I like how he describes it. Like it's an old, very stuffy yet risque establishment club. Like,
Yeah, so Warren went and saw one burlesque show with his girlfriend. And he was like, she's not liking this. All right, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
We never went back.
This about Angel. Yeah, we
Do you want our tickets for tomorrow night? We're never going.
We're not going. You can have them. Oh, there's a gala in New York next week. We're not even gonna go.
Yeah,
we were thinking about. We're not gonna go. We were thinking about it. You can have.
I didn't actually go to the gala like the Clintons and Obamas did. I just got the invitation, but I didn't go. It's always that. Yeah. I do want to say a cool thing about Angel. This is my favorite. Later in the comic, when he puts on the red and white costume, it's my favorite Angel costume version. I really like this one. I think it's a cool. I think it's a cool look for him.
We have to check in with Professor Xavier real quick. So Scott and Angel are flying away, and Xavier goes, "Oh, thank you, Miss Southern. Go with her, X-Men. I'll be along directly." And then he just stares off while Angel and Scott fly away. And he goes, "First, Scott disobeyed my instructions by bringing the X-Men here instead of to our New York headquarters, and now he flies off with Angel without a word of explanation. I do not understand why he's behaving so strangely, and I do not like it."
We should have just a standard.
Fuck you, man.
Yeah, but we should have a standard just point where it's like, is Professor X being a dick? Yeah, and it's like, oh yes, okay, great. We just check that off. Like, yes, he's still being terrible.
He's being an asshole.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Wolvie and Nightcrawler are infiltrating. They're in the sewers. The sewers of New York. Infiltrating the Hellfire Club.
Yeah, I guess Cyclops just catches Angel up on what's going on, right?
But then Cyclops and Jean have a moment where Jean changes her clothes again, and she actually holds back his optic blast so he can take the visor off, which I think may be the first time she's ever done that. And again, it kind of shows that not only is her power a lot stronger, but that she's willing to just kind of use it casually for something that even like that, like that's dangerous if she can't do that.
Yeah.
But she's just like, yeah, I got it. I want to look at your face. So where she's becoming
that's huge.
Comfortable with it. Yeah.
Also, it's weird that she says look at your face because it's not like she can't see his face. Look into your eyes, man.
Well, look into his eye. Yeah. Can you imagine though if he lifts it and like he's cross-eyed or something, or like he's got a dead eye? To the,
what if she took off the visor and he literally just had one eye in the middle?
Or like the thick and the thickest unibrow. Like
you're an actual Cyclops.
Yeah,
I know that's my name. Oh, but for some reason I just thought under the visor. I mean, you're always wearing the glasses with
it's not the visor. I am this.
Anyway, Cyclops. Nightcrawler and Wolverine in the sewers. I like how they set this up like 1,000 years too early, but Wolverine slices some cables because he's like, it's flooding, and eventually this will help us.
So that's a Chekhov's cables we gotta lay there for.
Good lord. It's like so early on. Also, Al, it's not my favorite Angel costume because I don't like the yellow boots and gloves. I like when it's white. It's close to my favorite.
Oh,
yeah.
The yellow is a little bit too much.
Also, I do like the sharp point on the nose and on the cheekbones there, especially the way John Byrne draws it. Because that's usually not there either. It's usually just like the, face hole.
Yep. All right, but so let's get to they're infiltrating.
Yeah, Scott and Jean get Warren's tickets to the gala, and they,
and Colossus and Aurora are also there.
Mm-hmm.
With other tickets, how many tickets does Warren have?
Warren, I mean, he's a member.
He's never gone.
No, I think they somehow got
tickets.
It'd be great if Warren was like, actually, my membership is only one ticket. I have to pay for the others. Can you reimburse me? Like, it'd be funny if can you just Venmo me?
And Xavier's like, reimburse you? How do you know how much vanity license plates cost? You can't just be buying tickets to the Hellfire Club for no reason.
But we do get introduced to several Hellfire entities. So we see Sebastian Shaw again. We see the stocky, thick boy Leland.
Yeah.
And then Pierce, who's a cyborg who's trying to get into the club.
They're all the inner circle, man.
Yeah, it's the inner circle.
They're not trying to get in.
Are you sure? I could have sworn Pierce was trying to become Indian.
Pierce and Leland and Shaw and Mastermind are like the inner circle.
Angel is not in the inner circle. Angel and Candy.
Yeah, Angel's just a member of the regular rich guy club.
Risque burlesque club, but he's only been to one time. They were there one time.
And only the one time. And then
you're talking about that old, stuffy yet risque establishment club.
Yeah, that they've only been to the one time.
Okay.
Yeah,
just the once.
Anyway, just like on Dazzler's dance floor, Jason Wingard immediately sweeps Jean off her feet, and just they hang out on the dance floor. And then he's like, "Why don't we go upstairs?"
And Scott is just, I love this panel. He's just stewing. He's like, "Oh, I don't like this. I don't like this at all. I don't like Wingard."
I do like this moment a little bit where in Thought Balloons, Cyclops is like, okay, Jean has told me about her time slipping bullshit, and it kind of seems like she's falling into that now, and Wingard's here. Maybe Wingard's thinking, which is something that Jean has never thought of. Like, Jean is just like, I'm clearly reliving an ancestor's memory, which she has no reason to believe.
She's real deep in the illusion, by the way.
No, she's all in on it. And Cyclops is immediately like, okay, this guy is sus as hell. Like, something's going on here. And then he gets blasted by Black Queen Jean Grey. And he cottoned on like 1 minute too late.
And we do get I think this is the first hint we get that Wingard is Mastermind, because when Cyclops follows them, he sees his real face.
Yeah, why does Mastermind reveal himself there? Just because he's like, I got her now. Fuck it.
No, the first hint is actually kind of cool. Yeah, the silhouette.
On issue 130, yeah.
Oh yeah, I had that pulled. I didn't bring it up at the time because we were moving past it, but yeah, I've got it right here. It's when they drove past him, he was outside, but the silhouette was of Mastermind, and it was like tickled at Scott's memory.
It's just like a guy. Like I don't know.
It's just a guy.
Yeah.
I don't know. Mastermind has a very distinctive nose.
Actually, that's true because reading the letters column, like a lot of people write in later on and be like, "I'm pretty sure Jason Wingard is Mastermind," and so.
Well, that's like the version of Reddit. That's their old version of Reddit, right? You just write in and say, "Hey, who's?" On an art note, why does Storm have like cat eyes?
She just
slit
she has
eyes.
Giant size X-Men 1. That's just the way that she's drawn.
That's just her eyes have that. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably just like, let's make her look exotic.
Yeah, like because they're trying to make her look like exotic because she's from Kenya. Because I don't want to just.
I'm sure that's what it was. This is just like old. It's just old art tropes of like she's from another place. Let's change how she looks a little bit.
Well, so Jean turns into the Black Queen and blasts Cyclops, and the X-Men go to action. And I love how they run up the stairs to help, and Sebastian Shaw is immediately just shirtless, standing in their way. He is suddenly there without a shirt on. Just like
you're right. My favorite part about that is he was totally wearing a shirt and a suit coat earlier, and then
now he's
fast forward to now, and he's just like ready to fight. It's like a wrestling uniform. Like he's just like the bell.
Well, it's very
like,
Iron
ding, ding,
Fist.
ding.
It's actually very Iron Fist
Iron
with like the green color and the sash. It's sort of Iron Fist.
I like when Colossus transforms, his suit just shreds to nothing, and his costume's underneath. Anyway, moving on. That's it. Just.
Well, Shaw just works Colossus.
I was gonna say, Joe, you brought this up in like an old episode. You talked about how Colossus's costume, when he was not in armored form, would have those weird blue leggings on it.
Yeah,
and that's what I can see in this. Yeah, he's got blue pants on, and then when he turns into armored form, the blue leggings go away.
The blue pants go away. It doesn't make any sense.
They rip off like Hulk's. They rip off.
But then and then they reform when he goes back to.
It's just funny. It's just funny because the premise is that like it's too risque for Colossus to show his thighs, but like Jean is showing.
But when
her
he's in
thighs.
metal form, they're like, show his thighs. But when he's not in metal form, they're like, don't show his thighs. That's crazy.
Too much.
You gotta put
Too
blue
much.
tights on him.
Yeah, no, we gotta put tights on him. Meanwhile, like the page before Shaw gets in, we see what Jean was wearing to the bottom.
Yeah.
just slit straight up the front, just
Yeah.
hanging boobs out.
She's
Cleavage.
wearing only underwear.
She's got some great
and then leather
cleavage
boots
and and some underboob. It's good.
yeah, and a leather corset and leather boots and only underwear.
But yeah,
Oh no,
Even
he's
what-
talking about her
even-
ball gown.
Yeah.
yeah.
Even what she
The
wore
slit.
before she changed into that is still like insanely.
Oh, just the
risque.
slit. Yeah. Just
Yeah,
the
yeah,
slit.
yeah.
Well, look, it is a risque establishment
And
club. It's
it's,
stuffy, but risque.
Listen,
She
Establishment
is
club.
kind of really
Listen,
like
I've only been there the one
Oh,
fucking
snap.
time.
she is kind of like embracing the darker side of herself now. So
Oh, that's
she's-
true. Yeah, she's getting closer
Yeah.
to the
Show it
tipping
off.
point here. Well, Shaw takes care of Colossus and Storm relatively quickly, and then Nightcrawler and Wolverine fight. What's his name? Pierce
Leland.
And
and
Leland.
Leland. And Leland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like how these Hellfire guys just talk like, your challenge is accepted, my dear boy.
That's
boy.
great.
Dear boy.
Why do they
I'm
act
afraid
like
I
it's
can't allow that,
17?
dear
Yeah,
boy.
I can't allow that, my dear boy, but I accept your challenge.
Leland calls Wolverine "dear boy" 2 times in the span of like a minute.
Yeah.
And then I love how he like is his powers to add mass or whatever. So like he adds mass to Wolverine and he smashes through the floor.
And he goes,
I'm
my
just
goodness.
like, and I'm
my
like,
goodness.
you didn't.
My
you have,
goodness.
I mean, I assume he knows what part of the building he's in, but that was like, there's a party downstairs. Like that's risky as fuck. Like you're just smashing Wolverine. All right, whatever. I mean, they're trying to keep the illusion that they don't exist still to the rest of the Hellfire Club. So like, I thought it was pretty great. Wolverine gets swept away in the sewers. Anyway, the rest of the X-Men are
so
easily
They're
dispatched.
defeated. I mean, Shaw takes out both Colossus and Storm pretty easily.
Yeah, but the main point is that Jean is a part of the Hellfire Club, now the Black Queen, and they all cheers her. And then we find out Wolverine's still
And she's
alive.
much
Most
sexier. She's much
Wolverine
sexier than
image.
White.
And after the
Wait,
fight,
Dave, what was that?
We get like the most iconic Wolverine image of this era of him in the water.
Yeah, the one that
Oh,
they
the
make
last
homages to all the
page,
time.
yeah.
And
I do like how it ends with, okay, suckers, you've taken your best shot. Now it's my turn. And he just looks
I mean,
angry as
it's
shit.
it's pretty fantastic.
It's great.
Yeah.
And the next issue, 133, is, of course, Wolverine Alone.
Yeah.
Which is a pretty
and,
great issue.
in the letters column of that one of 132, somebody mentions Wolverine's origins, and Claremont just says Wolverine's only origin is that his civilian name is Logan, which is how we learn his name is Logan. That has not been revealed.
Oh,
in the
really?
Oh my god, I did not know that.
It doesn't.
I did
it doesn't
not
mention
know
in the
that.
comic until 139 when he's talking to Kitty. So we learn his name just in the letters page.
Oh, that's interesting.
Which means for
That
5
is
years, from
insanely
1964
interesting.
to now, he's just Wolverine. That's his only name.
Yeah, that's insane.
Hey, Coucher. Sorry for the abrupt interruption, but we're a bunch of silly gooses here over on the Mobius Couch, and we thought we could cover the Dark Phoenix in one episode, and we were
That's
wrong.
It's
So,
insane. It's insane that we thought we could do that with a guest on.
With a guest, with 4 people, yeah. So we're actually cutting this into two parts. So this is the end of part 1. So please join us in 2 weeks. We'll do part 2. In the meantime, good journey, Couchers. Have a good one. Bye.